I think that day even we went home and tried to change your flights to come home later.
I know. I think we were like, let's stay. This is fine.
You're like, we've got pink eye, but that's okay. We're having too much fun. We need to stay some more days. All right. Welcome back to Organized Chaos. I'm Kathleen.
And I'm Melissa.
Today, we're talking about the trip that really started this all. Our very first international vacation together and with our children.
Yep, we're talking Costa Rica, baby.
Welcome to Organized Chaos.
And honestly, looking back, it feels like the perfect training wheels family trip.
It really was. 2 families, 5 kids between us. They were ages 1.5 to 6, traveling internationally together for the first time. And somehow through it all, we came back thinking we can actually do this again.
Yeah, during the trip, my kids were 3 and 5, and we were coming out of COVID. So I missed this whole period where you take toddlers on a plane. So I was a little bit nervous. And so when we got on the plane and we landed, and I was like, that wasn't that bad. Each step on the trip, I feel like, was getting a little bit more comfortable with this theory of taking our kids on bigger and better international vacations.
At the time, my kids were 1.5, 4, and 6. So we were also deeply in the little kid area with strollers, naps, car seats, diapers, especially with my youngest. Even a day at the beach or a day to the park felt like we were still packing up everything in our minivan. So the idea of packing up for a family of 5 to go on an international trip for multiple days was mentally such a big hurdle to overcome. But as you said, we went through each hurdle together, holding hands together through the journey. And I feel like at the end of it all, we were looking back and being like, oh my gosh, we did it. So it was a good one.
It was a good one. All the logistics was really why we chose Costa Rica. The grownups in both of our families had been there before, so that felt familiar and manageable. We knew the infrastructure was good. We knew the tourism was really well developed for Costa Rica, and people spoke English in most places. There was healthcare accessible. It just felt approachable for our younger family.
So we had both each been there before, so maybe we should just start there with why we each felt familiar with it.
Yes, great idea. The last time, or I guess the first time I went to Costa Rica, I went 10 years ago with my dad. I was in between jobs, and my dad has this tendency to say yes to everything. So he told me, Kathleen, you're not going to get another chance to take a trip like this. Take a little bit more time in between your jobs. Let's go on a trip together. And so we landed on Costa Rica. We flew into San Jose. We rented a car. We drove from San Jose up to Arenal to see that area, which is like hot springs and volcanoes. It's really quite beautiful. Lots of ecotourism. And then we drove from Arenal down to Manuel Antonio, which is more jungle beach experience. And it was one of those very special child-parent trips that I will never forget.
Aww.
Yeah. Love my dad.
Brooke and I also had history there. Costa Rica is actually where we got engaged. And we had a very similar route as what Kathleen and her dad had done. We flew into Liberia Airport. Then we went to Arenal. We went to Monteverde next and experienced the cloud forest and zip lining. And then we went down to Manuel Antonio, and that's where we ultimately got engaged. So yeah, he saved it till the very end of the trip, which I think that if he could do it over again, he probably would have done it at the beginning, the engagement at the beginning of the trip, because he said he was nervous the whole time about where's the ring and that he'd like hit it in his shoe or whatever.
I feel like him carrying around a very expensive engagement ring and just like waiting till the last place to say, will you marry me is Brooke-esque.
Oh, yeah. And just keeping with that theme, he was trying to throw me off, as men sometimes do before engagements. Someone had asked us at a hotel in the beginning of the trip, oh, so are you guys dating? And he said something like, well, I kind of know her, or something like really weird. And so I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, are we gonna break up? Is this our last trip together? Okay, just smile on my way through the trip, save the fight for when we get home. And sure enough, he was just trying to throw me off, which he certainly did. It was weird.
That's really funny, though. This all tracks.
Yeah. But 13 plus years later,
you're still happily married.
We're happily married. So what's that phrase? All's well that ends well. Anyway, getting back to it, we'd been there before. So we felt like, let's show the kids this beautiful country.
I feel like we were out to dinner together and we mentioned, hey, I want to take the kids on a trip internationally next year. And it was like, I do too. We settled on Costa Rica because we were already familiar. But then after reviewing the logistics one more time, it made a lot more sense for kids. So for reference, we're in Orange County. You can fly direct Costa Rica into Liberia or San Jose, and it's only about a 5-hour flight, and the time difference is only 1 hour. So you don't get this wild jet lag with the kids where they're either going to bed super late or getting up super early, and it felt manageable to take our kids at these ages on that long of a flight.
In California, it seems like for spring break, a lot of people go to Hawaii, and Hawaii is great and beautiful. And this felt like almost the easier version of Hawaii for us because of what you were saying. The time changed. The direct flight is actually slightly shorter than the whole flight to Hawaii. And then once we started actually looking into accommodations, everything was less expensive than what we would have been spending had we gone to Hawaii.
Okay, let's talk about packing.
A really nice thing about this rental house, which most rental houses have, is they offered a high chair, they offered a pack and play. Those kind of big, bulky items that I still needed for my 1.5-year-old at the time were all supplied for us. We knew the house had some sand toys and boogie boards and things like that that the kids could play with, so we didn't have to haul extra big things.
Also, Costa Rica, since it's more developed tourism-wise, they do have some other babies away options where you can find companies locally that you can rent different sorts of kid supplies from. We both decided to bring a double stroller and would 100% recommend this.
The double stroller came in clutch for us, especially with our kids' ages at the time. It was not only something that we used a tremendous amount of time on the trip, but also getting the kids through the airport. The double stroller was a really good way to just kind of strap them down into something in order to prevent my 1.5-year-old from running rogue through LAX airport. The double stroller, though, sounds bulky and big, which it is. It logistically really helped us to get through the trip seamlessly.
I would agree. In that moment, in that space with a 3 and a 5-year-old, it was clutch, except for the fact that when we got to the airport, the tires were flat. On our double bob. They were completely flat. And Parker dropped me off curbside with all our luggage and went to go park the car. And I literally, I was manhandling. The stroller wouldn't go. I had all of our stuff. The kids are like, Mommy, what's taking you so long? I'm sweating.
And for those unfamiliar with what the double bob is, this is the SUV of strollers. So these are not just little tires where if they're flat, who cares? They're big ol' honkin'.
They're like bike tires.
Yeah.
I was so disappointed. And the terrible part about it is there's nowhere in the airport to fill up a bike tire. So we're just dragging this big dumb stroller around LAX, and it's not helpful in the slightest. If anything, it's more of a chore. And I had to wait until we got to Costa Rica and we had to stop at a gas station to fill up the tires.
Oh my goodness.
Fill up your bob tires, everybody.
Check your tires.
Check your tires. Sorry, I digress.
I sort of feel like that became a running theme of the trip, of you ending up with all this stuff and Parker off dropping off the car, doing what have you.
He's always like dropping off the car and something goes wrong. And then, of course, I'm like, this is all your fault. Like, is it truly his fault the tires were flat? Not really, but probably my fault too. But, you know, it's easier to blame your husband sometimes.
Yeah, always easier to blame your husband. This was the first trip where we really did set the guardrail of get your family from point A to point B. Of course, we're all not evil people and like we'll help each other in a moment of distress, but my family is still struggling with our own 3 kids, thousands of suitcases, backpacks, our double stroller and all that. And it's like, as much as we can try to help Kathleen, it is a little bit every family for yourself. So
Sorry.
we had to kind of make that rule and stick to it. And, you know, at different times, I'm the one left behind, you're the one left behind. The rule, I still think, is such a good one.
You're in charge of your family at the airport. And you can't get mad about it either. This is just the rule. There's no ill will. It's just a really peak stressful time of the travel day. And so you can't take on other people's stress. You have to manage your own family's stress by yourself.
And then just one more travel tip on the points and the carriers and all that. We did book these trips pretty far ahead of time, but I'd say every few weeks or month or so, went back and rechecked how many redemption points are needed. I remember it kept dropping, actually, and we were able to call into Alaska Airlines and reclaim points. Go back and check. And a lot of flight carriers are really helpful about helping you to make sure that you can reclaim points if the prices go down.
Always track the prices, even on hotels, too.
Right. So the planning doesn't end right after you book, guys.
I was actually talking to a few people this week. And 2 different people I know were affected by weather. And their flights were delayed multiple hours. They were circling. They're like, oh, well, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm like, always send a note complaining to the customer service on the airlines because they will give you some sort of recourse. They'll give you points. They'll give you a voucher or something like that. Don't let your inconvenience go to waste. I'm a total Karen when it comes to this sort of thing. I fly too much for work to not let it go. So,
yeah.
All right. So moving on, talking about packing a little bit, a great hack for your car seats. Put your diapers in there. We put snorkel equipment. Be a bit discreet because sometimes the airlines will call you out, but it's a great catch-all for some extra things. And most of the airlines will check your car seats for free.
When we were choosing our rental car, because we had 3 kids in car seats or boosters or what have you at the time, we actually ended up renting the same car that we have at home just because my anxiety was so high about how do we fit 3 across and all that kind of stuff. So don't be a hero. Go with what's familiar if that takes 1% of the stress off of you. It's one of the things that we did for a while with all of our rental cars. Now my kids are older and so like configurations aren't as difficult.
That's actually kind of smart.
We just know they fit this way in our car at home. And if we're bringing those same car seats, they will fit that way in this car abroad.
It's true because especially the younger kid car seats, they're so wide.
They're so big and bulky. Yes.
I rented from Hertz because I'm a Hertz President Circle. The rental cars facility was off-site from the airport. And I remember being so frustrated because we got there and then we had to sit and wait for the bus. And then we were the first people there. However, all these other tourists started coming to and getting in line with us, and there was no sense of queue. So when the bus came, all these people got on before us with all of their stuff. And I got on with my children, and my husband was left behind.
Oh, how the tables have turned.
No, it was still bad.
Oh.
the car.
Because he had the car.
The bomb stroller was still flat. And I had all the luggage and the children. And
I thought you were saying just you and the kids got on and he had all this stuff.
No.
I knew this was a theme.
So God love Parker. He is so kind and generous to strangers to the point where he would inconvenience me for someone he will never see again. And it is this point of contention in our relationship. So he was being generous to these people who cut the line, and he left his wife and children on the rental car with all of our stuff. So then we got there. I have these little kids who I don't want to run into traffic, and I'm trying to unload all of our stuff. I like get into the office and I look back and the bob stroller's like in the middle of the parking lot. It was just kind of a mess. And of course, I'm sweating, I'm fuming. It ended up being fine. He got the next shuttle, but it was a bit bad at that point in time.
It was already a long travel day. I remember we left really early in the morning. So yeah, I believe you were probably quite frustrated and at your wit's end. One important note for Costa Rica specifically, rental car insurance is usually mandatory. So when you're budgeting out your rental car pricing, make sure that you're budgeting for that. Rentals can actually get a little bit more expensive than what I thought they were going to be in my mind, if I'm being very honest. We knew we wanted to have the rental cars because we had some excursions planned where we knew we were going to be taking the kids far away. But there is a shuttle service that's a more affordable way to get from the airport into at least Tamarindo.
If you have plans to just stay in Tamarindo, it is a good option as well, because when you get there, you can also rent golf carts. And it's a really cool way to get around the city and see the surrounding beaches, etc.
We researched so many places. I think this was one of those things of just paralysis by analysis in some ways. It felt like the Costa Rican world was our oyster. And I think that that's what ended up making us look at like so many places.
So many places. This spreadsheet, it had like 100 rows in it, like with no exaggeration. And I think another part of it was we were just really excited.
Yeah, yes, exactly. We wanted it to just feel like the perfect first vacation. But eventually we did land on Tamarindo. I know an hour and a half can sound like a long time, but compared to other places, that was not too far to go.
And I think we all took car naps on the way from the airport. Let's not forget the car nap.
Always a car nap. Always a car nap. I think that also one of the best things we did, our rental house host had an option where we could request them to grocery shop for us and have the groceries there for us.
Yeah, I feel like after that long travel day, nobody wanted to leave the house, including the kids. They saw the pool and they were like, yeah, this is awesome. And immediately got in. They had like a little swim-up bar where we served them dinner. We parents had a little cocktail to relax. It was a wonderful first night.
It was perfect.
And we survived. We survived the first day of international travel with our children.
We survived the first day.
But Costa Rica also, I'd say, is very family friendly.
Yeah. There were kids everywhere there.
There really were. We weren't the only one that had this idea. We normally aren't. We're not the first people to travel with our children.
Though sometimes we feel like we've invented this whole idea of traveling with our kids. Spoiler, other people have caught on to our secret idea.
No, this is not groundbreaking. It's kind of like the washer dryer.
That is another great idea that only we have invented, that if you have a washer and dryer at your rental house, it saves on what you need to pack.
Sorry, we're cracking ourselves up over here. Okay, so talking about Tamarindo, one thing we really loved about it was how walkable it was. We stayed in Playa Langosta, which is to the, I'd say, south. And so we were a little bit outside of town. That made it really wonderful to have the double strollers and the double bobs so we could walk into town with the kids. And as I mentioned before, you also have the option of renting golf carts. I think in retrospect, maybe we would have done it differently and gotten at least one 6-seater golf cart.
Yeah, next time maybe we'll have to go back and do it with the golf carts.
Yes.
We've had experiences with golf carts in other countries now. We love a golf cart.
Love a golf cart moment. So that first day, we all woke up. Of course, the kids were up early because they were so excited and immediately took a dip in the pool. And then we packed up all of our stuff to go to the beach. We went down to Playa Langosta, which is the beach right near where we were staying. And it was a little like estuary area where the freshwater river was flowing into the ocean, and there were surfers and a little beach club there. And we set up camp there and went in the water. I went to a nearby little restaurant and got everybody to-go food. And then we all met back at the house for more pool time, and then we took a nap.
Yeah, the first day went perfectly. It was very mellow. Beach day, naps, and then we ended up at Pangus for dinner, which was beautiful outdoor dining experience. We sat under twinkly lights. I remember first we walked out on the beach and watched the sunset, and it was one of those really perfect Costa Rican nights, setting the stage of, oh, this is so beautiful and picturesque. And then all of a sudden, a waitress whispers into our ear, oh, don't go into that water over there, though. There's crocodiles. And we're like, oh my gosh. Oh, yes. Okay. Yes. We are actually in wildlife. Goodness gracious. Kids, back up. Snapped us right out of it really quick, but also was kind of like, oh, wait, that is why we're here, to experience something that we wouldn't experience in our everyday backyards.
It was like something wild where some surfer had like lost his leg to a giant crocodile, and then they had to like capture and rehome it in the jungle. And now there's like not super big crocodiles in the estuary, but they're still there. So don't be near the water because they can drag your children in. They really did not sugarcoat it for us. But we learned. I'm glad they didn't, because otherwise we would have been like, oh, pish posh, it's fine. They're water safe. And so FYI, watch out for the estuaries. Scary.
We knew that after the big travel day and then after our kind of mellow day, we'd be up for some adventure. So our next day, we did a big catamaran cruise with the kids. It was about $100 per person. It included all-you-can-drink beverages for the grown-ups, delicious lunch for everyone. They had all the snorkel gear, all the protective gear too, as far as life vests and flotation devices for kids or adults. It was a really big day, I think, one of our first big adventure days with the kids, which we've now tried to replicate on subsequent vacations. But it was such a wonderful day.
It was. So it was a larger catamaran with more than just our group. I think there's probably 30 people, maybe a little less, maybe a little more. And so Melissa and I, when we were planning this, weren't really quite sure what the vibe was. Like if it was like a booze cruise for like young backpacking tourists. And we were a little bit like nervous that, are we going to get on this? And we have like Hannah, who's 1.5, and there's like these kids just like taking shots and getting wild on the booze cruise. It was not that, thank goodness. And the kids had a blast. We stopped at one point to go snorkeling, and they were all very brave, and they jumped off the side of the catamaran into the water, which was a pretty big drop, but they were really brave and did it. And we snorkeled in the water there, and it was really nice day with the children.
Yeah, watching these little kids, even Hannah, work up the courage to jump off the boat into this open water. I was so proud of all of the kids for getting in the water.
Speaking of Hannah, one of my favorite moments of the trip, Melissa and I were standing on the beach before dinner one night. The whole time we kept saying, Pura Vida, and Hannah runs by in front of us and like screams in her little voice, Pura Vida. And we both looked at each other like, did she just say Pura Vida? And I think both Melissa and I were like, tears in our eyes. We love this trip. We love Costa Rica.
Among the waves and the sunset. Oh, that memory lives rent-free in my head.
Me too.
It
honestly.
Always will.
Little Hannah.
Little Hannah. Speaking of sweet memories, even the casual dinners were just sweet little moments on this trip. So after this catamaran cruise, we got back in right after sunset. By this time, we were all kind of hungry. So we grabbed a casual dinner to go at...
Melissa gets all the Spanish words.
So we grabbed a casual dinner to go at El Chiriguito. I don't even know how to say this word.
I think it's Chiriguito, Chiringuito, El Chiringuito, Guanacaste.
And yeah, from there. And we all just sat right there on the beach and had a little beach picnic, and the kids got to play in the water. We got to enjoy the rest of the sunset. I feel like every single moment of Costa Rica, we just kept being like, pinch me. This is so perfect and easy and casual and great.
I think the casual thing really rang true because we didn't have to have reservations every single night, which is sometimes easier because then you're not rushing to the restaurant, getting the kids out of the house, and it made it very easy. There's also this place called Jardín Tamarindo Food, which is like a food truck park. And that was really convenient and casual for dinner. So we just wheeled to the main beach and everybody got what they wanted. And same thing, we had a little picnic and enjoyed the sunset. And that seemed to be our cadence for the evenings. So we didn't have to rush around and get to a restaurant and have the kids sit down, which is sometimes more effort than it's worth.
That place had little food trucks, as Kathleen said, and then it had a lot of vendors that were just cooking meat on the street. One of our running jokes is that every country I go to where they are cooking meat on a skewer on the streets, I feel like it calls to me and I have to get it. So that was where I satisfied my street meat craving of the trip. It was so good. Oh my gosh.
What did you get? Do you know what it was?
It was basically just chicken kebabs, but I feel like that's... there's no way to describe this smell other than smelling it. You know, when you come out of a stadium or any kind of place where they're openly cooking meat on the street, that smell just calls to me. I feel like I have to get it.
Are you one of those people? Parker calls them victory dogs.
Yes,
You get the hot dogs with the bacon from the cart?
So I don't do that anymore, but I did that.
Why not, Melissa? Tell us why you don't get those anymore.
I think that as I've gotten older, my tummy is a little bit more particular.
I have to stop Parker. He's the same way. Any sort of wafting street meat, he's like, I gotta get it. And I'm like, remember last time you got it? And it didn't go well for you? So sometimes I win that battle. Sometimes I don't. He always loses that battle. Let's just be honest, whether he eats it or he doesn't.
Well, Parker and I do have that in common. That smell is so hard for me to turn down. When I'm in a foreign country, I cannot turn it down.
That's why you pack your Cipro for your traveler's diarrhea, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so let's talk about the spa day. So this is another memory that lives rent-free in my head. I cannot say more good things about the Cebu spa. It's right outside of Tamarindo Central. And this was not just one spa appointment, it was a whole experience.
For those who have listened to a lot of our episodes, they do know that we like to build in a mom's day off and a dad's day off. And so this was what we did on our mom's day off. So the dads were taking the kids to the beach and at the pool and what have you. We knew we were going to want a little R&R at this time. And so, yes, this was our mom's day off. And it was so incredible. It was around $250 per person plus tip. But as Kathleen said, that included multiple spa treatments and those beautiful open air cabanas where the sounds of the jungle. And then we also had lunch included and wine included.
For the price, it was really quite a deal. Like we had a private cabana with a bathroom and a shower. We got a massage. I got a facial, and I think I got a mud wrap. I thought I was going to die in the mud wrap, though. It was so hot. Like they put mud all over my body and then wrapped me in plastic. And we were like outside in the hot heat. And in my head, I was like, this is where I expire. This is where I'm going to die. So that was a little warm, but my skin was really nice after.
Yeah. Oh, I had no idea you were having that kind of
so
claustrophobic a heat problem. Meanwhile, the wonderful woman who did my wrap, I think maybe to take my mind off of that, decided to give me a beautiful little updo. I just all of a sudden felt her like braiding my hair. And then at the end, when we all got up, I had this like most beautiful, intricate updo.
I know.
I think that's what kept my mind off of maybe how hot I was. That
sweating
someone was playing with my hair and
that was not included.
A little freebie on the side that
I feel
got.
like you're always getting a spa freebie.
They're probably like, this mom of 3 just looks so stressed. Wait, let's throw something extra in
She's
for
got
her.
some dark circles under her eyes. She needs an updo.
Let's do something to make her look a little more glamorous. It was the perfect reset. The lunch was delicious. As I mentioned, wine was included. And then we took a dip in the pool. Let's just say we were not hurrying to get back to our kids. I think we timed it just right. They were all just gone down for a nap by the time we got back. So we then got to have like a nap time at home and then had to wake up and
take care of our children.
Do the parenting thing.
I will say, and I think this is what we figured out. So the guys are always playing golf, right? And that takes at least 5 hours. So we said, we're going to take at least 5 hours. And so I think that's become our mantra for Mom's Day is we're not just going to like do the services and like rush through our time together. We're going to really enjoy ourselves and relax because our husbands are most definitely going to do the same. And I would say there's no shame. We're never shaming each other for taking our time. That's just the unspoken rule that day is yours. Be home around nap time and ready for dinner. But we're not going to be calling you or texting or checking up where you're at. Like, you're off for the day.
100%.
Should we talk about the pink eye?
The elephant in the room, the pink eye. Yes.
So I don't know which day it was, but Ensley woke up in the morning with some pretty disgusting junk in her eyes. And I think we were trying to avoid it in the meanings like, oh, it'll pass. But by the next day, everybody started kind of coming down with the symptoms. So we went to the local clinica, which they were very nice and acknowledged, okay, it looks like both your kids have pink eye. And I think, Melissa, all your kids had pink eye too.
I think all the kids got pink eye. Everyone had pink eye by the end of the trip.
Yeah. And we weren't really quite sure where it came from, whether it was like swimming in the ocean water or swimming in the pool. But anyways, we all got pink eye. And then by the time we got home, I think even the parents had pink eye. So we're just really quite disgusting. Sorry, guys. But the clinica was very nice. They set us up with eye drops. They didn't end up taking our insurance. So I think out of pocket was probably like $100 for the visit. But we felt very comfortable with the medical services in Tamarindo. And
that was one of those hurdles that helped us to honestly kind of be able to keep traveling. Obviously, pink eye is mild compared to some of the horrific things that can happen, of course. But because we had that first little taste of like having to go seek medical care in a foreign country with our kids, which as an anxiety-ridden mom is one of those things you worry about, we got through that hurdle and made it to the other side.
I think that day even we went home and tried to change your flights to come home later.
I know. I think we were like, let's stay. This is fine.
You're like, we've got pink eye, but that's okay. We're having too much fun. We need to stay some more days. So we called Alaska to see if we could all shift our flights a day or two. And they were like, no, it's spring break. Everything is booked. You have to come home.
We already talked through our beautiful Mom's Day. On the dad's day off, as Kathleen already said, they went golfing. They went to Hacienda Pinilla. They played apparently 18 holes is what we found out at the end of the day. But again, we asked no question. Oh, wait, 18 is normally a normal.
I think they played 36. They played twice.
Oh, that's what it was. I was like, 18 is, I don't know. Golf is my nemesis.
I think because it's really hot in Costa Rica, not a lot of people were playing golf. And even they mentioned that the greens were a little dead. I think it's just because it was that time of year. And because it wasn't busy, they're like, let's run it back. Which sounds so boring to me, but listen, they love golf.
They love golf, yeah. And the feedback from what they said was, yes, it was, of course, very hot. But Brooks says it was still so incredibly beautiful. And he has these memories of golfing through this jungle terrain and having some ocean shots. And it was still a beautiful atmosphere is what I took back from what they said.
And didn't he play barefoot?
Yeah, so talking about gear and what we all bring, our husbands did not lug their golf clubs there, so they just rented clubs. But I think by the end of the golfing day, Brooke was just playing barefoot. It was that casual of a course.
Doing the cost-benefit analysis of carrying golf clubs for one round of golf.
Two rounds.
I'm sorry.
2 rounds.
Pardon me. 2 rounds of golf. It costs like $50 to check a golf bag. So you would spend that same amount to rent the golf clubs. And so I think they just said, hey, we won't bring them with us. I think Parker brought his shoes though. But Brooke lives in flip-flops. So there's that.
Brooke would be in flip-flops at any occasion if we would allow it.
So after their 36 holes of golf, they had
so much
golf. I like get bored at night. I'm like, can we go back to the clubhouse? So after their 2 rounds of golf, they had lunch at the restaurant Vaquero, which they said was really nice. And then I'm pretty sure they made their way home for naps.
So while the dads were golfing, Kathleen and I took the kids to Diamante Eco Adventure Park. They had zip lines, they had hanging bridges, they had a zoo. I think our older kids could have done the zip lines and the hanging bridges, but honestly, because we had the younger ones as well, we stuck to the zoo and the playground and getting ice cream. And I felt like that was enough adventure for our kids anyway. But I would love to go back at one point and try the zip lines and all the more adventurous things.
Honestly, the zoo was pretty impressive. They had a lot of different animals and they were all kind of out too. So not hiding in the enclosures or anything, so you could see them up close and personal. And I remember the park at the zoo being pretty cool as well.
Yeah.
So it was worth the time and energy to get there. It was quite a drive. How long was that drive?
I want to say it was about an hour and a half or 2 hours.
Yeah. We had to cross a dry riverbed, and a lot of the roads in Costa Rica are that way. There's some off-roading to it, and that's why they require you to get insurance, because if you're not going to be driving on paved roads, there is a consequence that there could be some damage to the car.
Yeah, there were quite a few times I remember as we were navigating our way there where we would be like, GPS says we're turning here and it's just a dirt road. Do we think that's the right way to go? Okay, let's just try it. And it was right.
Yeah. We did get lost at one point in time, but like Google Maps does work there quite well. If you don't have cell service, make sure to get a GPS because otherwise you will be lost for sure.
Yes. Even outside of that zoo experience, all over Costa Rica, honestly, there were animals everywhere. Even just walking from our rental house to the beach or to dinner, we would see monkeys walking around in the streets or hanging in the trees. We saw iguanas everywhere. It was one of those situations where you just feel like you're immersed in nature no matter where you are.
There was one day before we went out to dinner and we were all ready to go. And we went out and there was a whole troop of howler monkeys in the trees right outside our house. And we all just sat and watched them, I think, for like 20, 30 minutes. They were playing in the trees and eating dinner. And the kids were, I mean, not just the kids. I was really intrigued by that whole situation. Like having monkeys just in your backyard just was pretty cool.
It was all very magical. Speaking of magical, we do want to shout out another place besides the medical clinic that we did frequent.
Shout out to the medical clinic. But also,
we were your best customers. We returned frequently. There was also Ocho Beach Bar. Again, with the ease, it was a proper restaurant with proper seating and everything like that. But we had many dinners of the kids sitting on the day beds, watching the sunset, eating the chicken fingers. They had live music. Since this trip, I've had multiple friends who have gone to Costa Rica and I've recommended this place and they've loved it as well. So shout out to Ocho Beach Bar. It was one of those perfect kid-friendly magical experiences.
We went the first night and then I think the next day we're like, what do we do for dinner? And we kind of looked at each other. Do you want to go back to Ocho Beach Bar? Yes, I want to go back to Ocho Beach Bar. It was kind of our fixture for 2 or 3 nights, I want to say.
Yes.
In the main beach on Tamarindo, there are a lot of beach bar restaurants. So by all means, go explore the rest of them. The reason why we liked Ocho Beach Bar was it was closer to Playa Langosta towards the end of this strip of restaurants. And so it felt more quiet and secluded, and it was just not as busy as some of the other places, nor did we feel required to sit down at a formal table, which made it very convenient for the children. And they were just nice to us too. Sometimes you walk into restaurants and you have a lot of kids and they're kind of like, oh, but Ocho made us feel very welcome. Check it out. It was a great place.
And then on the other hand, we do sometimes spring for a little bit more nicer and upscale. And so our last night, we did go to Dragonfly, a more formal seating arrangement. We sat at tables, served like at a normal. Should I explain how restaurants work? Where you're served at a table?
Just in case people don't know, you sit at a table at a restaurant.
But they had live music. They had these cool little hammocks in the back patio where the kids could play while we were waiting for the food to be served.
I would say the only caveat there, it's in town and it's up the hill a little bit. So just be wary. I remember pushing the Bob with my full Bob tires up the hill, and my husband was getting really sweaty and frustrated. But we made it there. They had these really cool artwork installments in the restaurant that were really beautiful. And I think one of the highlights for the kids is they had a lot of fresh juices on the menu. So we all tried a different fresh juice to go along with our meals.
Yeah.
So the last excursion we did was an estuary tour in the Las Baulas National Park, which was nice for little kids, but it probably could be an hour shorter because of the little kids.
It was a 2-hour tour, and you're going through this estuary very slowly so that you're not disturbing the wildlife, and you have the opportunity to see monkeys and crocodiles and caimans and birds and iguanas, and you can really see a lot, and you have these very knowledgeable tour guides who are telling you not just about the animals you're seeing, but about the agriculture around you and just the general history and things like that related to Costa Rica. I found it very interesting, but I do agree at the ages that our kids were at, it was honestly probably an hour too long.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too, but they were just getting disinterested about 1 hour in. Also, there's no toilet on this boat. And my younger daughter, she always needs to poop in public spaces. So that ended up being quite the MacGyver moment for me. Luckily, the guy had some newspaper and an empty ice bag, so we made do. But just as a heads up, if you bring younger kids on this trip, bring some wipes, bring some toilet supplies, because you never know when nature calls.
It was such a special trip. And when we look back at it now, this really was the beginning of our own adventures in our own families to go abroad, our own adventures of going together as families abroad. It was proof to us that traveling with young kids can actually be really enjoyable and not just something that you're trying to survive.
And I think probably where this podcast was born, right? Taking our kids on our first international trip and experiencing that magic, not only individually with our own families, but together as friends. We've said before, meet your kids and yourself where you are. It doesn't have to be overscheduled to be a wonderful time together. Make sure that you acknowledge how old your kids are and plan the trip for your family in that space and time.
That's the Pura Vida way.
Pura Vida. Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode about Costa Rica. We hope you tune in next time.
Thanks for listening. See you on our next adventure.
And please follow along on social media. On TikTok and Instagram, our handle is our.organized.chaos. And you can visit us on our website at ourorganizedchaos.com.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.